You cannot afford to miss a single moment of the next hour. Get ready to have your ideas about sexuality, love, and relationships blown wide open. It's time to get educated, entertained, and enlightened, as well as sexually empowered. You have now tuned into the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show. Now, here's your host, Tanja Diamond.
Hey, wait, that's me.
That is you. That would be you.
I was sitting there just kind of grooving on the music, la-di-da-di-da. I'm like, oh, yeah, your host.
You're on the air now.
Tanja Diamond, that's me.
That's you.
Hello, everybody, and you may not recognize my voice, but for those of you that were here during last winter when I was sick, you would recognize this sexy, sick voice.
Ah, the sexy, sick
This is the sexy, sick voice.
Right.
So, it is me. Hello, everybody, and I am excited, right?
Oh, you are.
I'm always excited.
And you're wearing a beautiful dress.
Thank you very much. It's good when I wear clothes to the station, isn't it?
I'm good either way. I mean, you know.
Whatever we want to do. It's cool enough in here since they got the new air conditioner.
I embrace whatever you show up in.
Oh, thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. And you were asking me, like, what are we going to talk about today? You've been reading a book.
I've been reading the book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. And today's chapter, as I read these books, not cover to cover, but I wake up in the morning, I open it up, and wherever it opens up, that's my key for the day, or for life as it looks in this case. Do it for love.
Mm-hmm.
And
what do we do?
The opener is, the way a man penetrates the world should be the same way he penetrates his woman, not merely for personal gain or pleasure, but to magnify love, openness, and depth.
So
So
you penetrate the world that way?
that's my mission, is to really understand why I'm here.
Yeah.
What I can do to fully identify and expose my gifts, that I'm living this life for my sole purpose.
Yes.
And what they're talking about in this chapter is when we make love.
When you and I make
love. Well, yes. When as men we make love to our women, to our beloved, that we live in the world in our full conviction, in our full authenticity, and when we're making love, to give our full conviction, our full authenticity, so that we are fully open as lovers, that the women will experience us in such a pure way.
I hear what you're saying, and if I were a man, I'd be sitting here going, I do give it my full authenticity.
I give it my full on. I'm there, baby, I'm there.
That's right, I'm giving it to her with everything I have.
That's my sister, give it.
See, so what are you really talking about?
Oh, gosh. Well, what is that really talking about? When we're doing more than just poking, when we're doing more than just thrusting because it feels good, but when our purpose
to get off?
Our purpose is more than just to get off.
Okay, so there's a bigger mission than that?
To bring our heart,
That's when you yell, I love you, baby.
I love you, baby. I love you. Don't move.
Something more than
to bring
that?
our heart. What does it mean to bring our soul? How many places do we really bring our soul as a man? When we're at work, when we're driving, when we're at home, it's about me. What are my needs? What's my agenda? But when we release the agenda and really look at our purpose, now more than just, I'm getting off.
Right.
I'm getting it on.
Yay. I'm getting laid.
I'm getting laid. It's, I'm here. I'm alive. What's my soul's purpose? So that in the world we're walking with our soul's purpose in mind. Now, for some religious cultures, they understand what I'm saying. Yes, everyone should be living with their soul's purpose.
Is that like bringing God to the bedroom then?
In a sense.
Yeah, bringing your faith.
Yeah, whatever your faith is.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're atheist or agnostic or Catholic or Jewish, Muslim, to bring your full conviction of why am I alive to your beloved.
You know what? When I teach how you do this is how you do everything, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the kind of Team Tantra motto there. And I think for a lot of people, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And people, you should give us a call. If you're going to call us and call in and call me on this. If you think this, but I think this is way over what a lot of people are contemplating in the bedroom. I think people's most agenda is orgasm.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, what is it? I mean, what does it look like to bring everything to the bedroom? To bring your faith to the bedroom.
To bring your faith to the bedroom.
To bring your soul's
fears.
Conviction. Ooh, your fears.
Yeah. Talk about your fears, whether it's about the world or about your
so
experience
you're going
with your
away
partner.
there. Y'all saying, I'm so
Baby, I'm afraid.
I'm scared. I'm scared of economic decline. I mean, it's come on. What are we going to be happening in the bedroom here?
Well,
I mean, oh God, I got that part right.
Well, what as men, what prevents us or diminishes our ability to be fully vulnerable to our lover?
The fear of loss of erection.
Okay, there's that.
I mean, isn't
Baby, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to please you.
I mean, isn't that the
more than 30 seconds?
Isn't that the deal? I mean, what is men's biggest fear in the bedroom? I mean, really, what is it?
I think men's biggest fear in the bedroom is, when am I next going to get some?
If I don't do well now, then it's not going to happen again?
Either if I don't, I want to get her off, or I want to get off. I want to make it last as long as I can. How long am I going to last? And it's about just getting off, oftentimes. I mean, yeah, there's connection and there's fun, but I think most men are just looking to get off. And, okay, it's with someone you love.
Billy's, yeah.
And,
they're going, yeah.
Return on investment, what if it could be 1,000 times more intense? So, super getting off.
Super getting off. Yay. Billy's all for that.
Billy's like, wait, teach me that one.
The super getting off. Well,
I knew I was going to learn a lot from you guys.
I know, it's a great thing.
But that the experience, the metaphor between the world and the bedroom, okay? We've talked before about manifestation, about the secrets of, you want to call it creating your future, creating your reality.
Right.
That if we're, am I allowed to say half-assed on the radio?
I think assed is okay.
Yeah, if I'm living my life half-assed, satisfied, settling in job, in my friendships, in my relationships, in my spiritual practices, whatever your spiritual practices are, okay? If I'm half engaged with all of that, the world will give you half of what you desire, or less.
Maybe even less, yeah.
Or half of what you don't desire.
Right, exactly.
Or more. And if I'm bringing only half of my conviction, if I can't bring my full intensity, if I can't bring my integrity to the bedroom, and whether that's a long-term relationship, a short-term relationship, if I can't bring my full self to that bedroom, I'm only bringing half of what I could, or less, to my lover.
Right.
And I'm only getting half out of that.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that this chapter also alludes to or talks about to me is, wait a minute, you mean I can use having sex as a way to generate my intensity in the world? I can create what I want while I'm having sex?
Oh, yeah. Sex magic.
Sex magic.
That's what we call it.
So if I set an intent before making love, then I'm devoting the energy, the intensity. Now, don't get me wrong here. Does that mean I have to think about the things I'm wanting while engaged in sex? Or can I think it, write it down, go have sex, and wait for it to happen?
Well, I mean, sex magic is really about using your sexual energy consciously. So you would do an intent. You would have an intent. You would set up, and we could call that conscious coming as well. So if you're going to orgasm, you imbued the experience with your desires for the world, or your manifesting desires. And, that's not just in the last second, like, oh my God, I'm going to come, I want a Ferrari.
Wait, where's my list?
The Ferrari. Not like that. Okay. But an actual sitting with your partner beforehand, discussing your intent for this lovemaking session, bringing your full, consciousness to your partner, and then imbuing this beautiful experience out into the world. Now,
do you have to have the same intent, or she can say, wait, I've got my order, you've got your order?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It's about combining energies and then just sending that experience
out. So you're helping each
world.
Other ramp up your energy.
Right. Because the biggest energy in the world is sexual energy. Okay. It's the most powerful, potent energy, and it's the energy of creativity. And so creativity is where manifesting happens. Okay. So yeah, you can use that instead of just mindlessly having sex just because it feels good. You can decide that you're going to actually have an experience with it that's something bigger than yourselves.
Okay.
So that's one thing. But all of this, the foundation of all of this, and we'll talk a little bit about this, is, of course, what? Breath work. Conscious breath.
Am I going to have to breathe?
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to breathe right now. Could you do some breathing?
You want me to do the demonstration?
I'm very barely breathing right now. Yeah, there it goes. And we're not talking heavy breathing on the radio type of breathing.
Oh, right.
Right.
No, not heavy breathing.
Not heavy
just
breathing.
Deep breathing.
Well, conscious breathing. Conscious deep, heavy
breath.
breathing.
Right.
So basically, we just put out a V book, which I know that you love that. Whenever I say that word V book, he just goes
I'm starting
off.
to get used to it, but it triggers beautiful images in my mind.
Yeah, we're going to come up with a VM book, which is like the V book with MP3 music to it.
VM.
Too. VM. I know. What would you think of that?
My mind just went blank.
I know. VM. Well, yeah. Anyway, I knew that would throw him for a second there. But the V book is a video embedded ebook, and it's an ebook on conscious breath practices. And this is the foundation of all of this stuff we talk. Everything we talk about here really has a foundation of conscious breathing. And I know everybody thinks, I'm breathing. What do you mean conscious breathing? Is there unconscious breathing? Yeah. What most people are doing right now.
Well, one of the very basics of conscious breathing, and here you go, guys, this is a reason for this, is when we start getting excited and we're with our partner, we all start breathing fast. And if we would, thank you, or holding our breath and tightening everything. If we would actually start breathing deep, the more excited we get, take deep breaths. Even if we have to stop moving and take deep breaths, that will relax the body and that will help us, men, I'm talking to you, to last longer. But wait,
there's more.
There's more. What if I told you that by doing this, the excitement, the arousal, the ecstasy for your partner, for your lover, your girlfriend, your wife, will just go off the chart?
That's right. That is right, because not only does conscious breathing help you and your arousal go from, let's say, a 2 on a scale of 1 to 100. Mm-hmm. Most people are living at about a 2 in their pleasure. Do you realize that, we have a pleasure range, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And really, for most people, their pleasure range is so small compared to the capacity that they're capable of.
I'm with you there. Yeah.
Right. And you've experienced that, right?
Oh,
how it used to be and how it is now?
Yeah.
A little bit different?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about, my ejaculation mastery progress, and I was doing great until I really started doing my homework, and I was like, oh my gosh, this feels too good.
Right. The pleasure keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And so all of the vehicle of that is this whole breathwork thing. And so take an example. Everybody that's listening to this right now, unless you can do this one even if you're driving a car. Okay, so you can get racing. Maybe you're making love right now, then you can do this one too.
Listening to the
wouldn't that be cool if somebody
love.
Called in and said, we're having sex, we're listening to your show.
9.8.
We're listening to your show while we're having sex. That'd be cool. You could chat. I'm on Facebook. You could throw up a chat right now and say you're telling me that on the chat there. Anyway, awareness breath is one of those exercises in the V book. And it's really quite simple. You can do that with me right now. And it's just a matter of taking a moment and actually experiencing the breath that you're having right now without changing anything, without trying to do anything. Feel the breath come in through your nose. Hopefully it's coming in through your nose. Wherever it's coming in through is fine. Feel the breath coming into your body and then feel it going out of your body. Don't change it. Just become aware of it. Where is it right now? Is it fast? Is it slow? Feel the air coming around the bridge of your nose, going in your nostrils. Maybe you can feel it going down your throat and into your lungs. But just focus your attention on what's happening with your breath right now. That's right. So you're doing breathing on the radio. How cool is that?
Yes, that's right.
You can take this time, any moment, anywhere, and just focus on the breath you're having. And it's a meditation of sorts. Anytime you focus your mind on one thing, it's meditation.
Yeah.
And so breath awareness will help you bring your blood pressure down. It will help you bring, your stress level down. It will just focus you if you feel really scattered. it's a great thing, and it's a great thing to do with your partner. I mean, you just sit for a second and just become aware of your own breaths before you become aware of each other. So it's like tuning into your own body. And we are so checked out of our bodies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, most people are in pain of some sort or another, or they've had abuse, or they've had some heartache or something like that, and they've just really checked out of their bodies. And this is one of the ways to start bringing yourself back into your body, is by breath. And that's a really, really simple one. We have, I think there's 9 or 10 different breath practices I know there's 9 video clips in the V-book. And they're great because you get to see part of Team Tantra. Because there's you're in there, Marie's in there, Max is in there, I'm in there.
Looking pretty hot, I must say.
Was he looking hot?
He was looking hot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
And so were you, of course.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And so we're all in there showing you how. So when you read the descriptions, then you can click on the little video thing and it shows you how to do the breath. So you will be successful in this. And it has some partner breathing there and some hot tantric breathing tips and that type of thing as well.
And that also helps because if, it's one thing if you're looking at it, then you go to explain that to your partner. It's so much easier to take your partner to the computer and say, this is what I just looked at. It seems really, I'd like to do that with you.
Right.
And then they get to see the example, so you're both getting a chance to experience it.
Yep. Easy way to learn it, and just those tips right there, even if you just do those. What is that kind of stuff good for? Well, medically, conscious breath is now, has finally, a little while ago, been, approved by the American Medical Association.
Oh, we're allowed to breathe now?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Sweet.
The American Medical
AMA
Association,
said
they said, guess what?
They're so insightful.
They said, hey, breathing is good for you.
It's good for you.
Damn, I like that.
But actually doing breathing exercises.
Yeah, the actual conscious. So most of the time, most of us are breathing, obviously. We're alive, but we're breathing like at 10% of our capacity.
Yeah.
So, and that 10% of capacity is just keeping you barely functional.
One thought on breathing that, as a healthcare practitioner, I've looked at how to be healthy and realizing that the body uses oxygen. Duh. The body uses oxygen to fight bacteria and virus.
Right.
And so with all the different coughs, colds, flus, things that we get, what if we had more oxygen in our system overall?
Wow.
Aerobic bacteria, the bacteria that thrives in air, is the good bacteria, and anaerobic is the bacteria that thrives in oxygen-poor environments.
There you go.
And that's the bad stuff. So if we're breathing more, less bacterial stuff.
And
even reading some books talked about how more oxygen actually has an effect on virus.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So we're medically healthier. Certainly, they've done lots of studies that show that as soon as you start doing deep conscious breaths, and there's a way to do it. We're not talking just, that's one way to breathe, but that's not really what we're talking about. That your blood pressure changes and your nervous system changes. You can actually evoke major change. I had a client once that was telling me, when he came in to be a master lover, he said, okay, teach me how to be a master lover. I want to drop women to their knees with my kiss. I heard you could do that. And I'm like, yes, I can. And I want to learn that. And I said, great, let's breathe. He's like, no. You didn't hear me. Want to drop women to their knees with a kiss. And I'm like, great, let's breathe.
Right.
And he was resistant for probably about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But really, I wasn't going anywhere with. He gave me what he wanted.
He's paying for the hour, however he wants to spend it.
Right. He told me what he wanted, and the shortest cut shortest route to get there was to listen to what I was actually telling him.
Funny thing.
I know. So finally, he decided, okay. And so I taught him some basics, and I sent him home. And a few days later, he called me up, and he was just blown away. He said, I don't even know what to tell you. It's like everything's changing. I'm like, of course. And I told him, if you go do this, your entire life is going to change. And now that's a duh. Our entire lives change all the time. So maybe that's just, that's a giveaway. Okay.
It's easy to be a guru on that one.
Right. I know. Woohoo. Look at me. I'm so cool. But the reality is the change that he could create within himself, that it wasn't just random change anymore.
Was he feeling different about his life?
Yeah. He used to say he procrastinated, like he wanted to join the gym, but he'd go pick up the phone and then he'd put it down, pick it up, couldn't make decisions. And he started breathing, and 3 days later, he just walked over and picked up the phone and called. And then he noticed at the gym that he could actually bring his pulse rate down while he was working out.
By breathing?
Yeah, he could watch it on the pulse monitor there.
Right.
On the treadmill.
Well, go figure.
Yeah, and he was blown away, and he was really excited. And he started to have these huge changes in how he felt, how he thought, how his body was responding.
Mm-hmm.
He was very excited. He came back to the next class, and he was just telling everybody, woo, and he looked totally different.
Right.
You know, he was a handsome man before, but he was tense. And then here he is, this handsome man who's relaxed, who looks just way sexier.
Women, when
I know,
they
all
see
these
a
women
man,
were sitting around him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, women, when they see a man who's somehow magically dissipated his tension,
Yes.
and all of a sudden is fine just being in his own skin, his own space.
That's really sexy.
Pretty sexy. So
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking about that, Kiss.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, so he was surrounded. He's in his 60s, and he was surrounded by all these women in their 30s and 40s. I mean, they all just kind of flocked to sit around him.
Nice.
Right.
I got to breathe more.
Yeah, exactly. now he's remembering. Oh, that's right, that breathing stuff. That's really good stuff. We are going to take a break here, and we will be back in just a little bit more to talk about more about sex, orgasm, tantra, breathing.
I want to talk more about orgasm. I
Exactly.
like that.
Yeah, we all want to
I'm good with that.
All right, we'll be back in just a few moments.
Are you one of the 40 million sexless couples in the U.S.? Are you wondering why having sex leaves you feeling lonely? Are you suffering from the myths of sexual dysfunction? Do you know in your heart that there has to be more than what you're currently getting out of making love? To rid yourself of sexual ignorance, get more out of your lovemaking, and find out more about spiritual sexual connection, then you need to check out www.thetantrateacher.com to receive your free copy of the ebook called Secrets of the Tantra Teacher. Don't suffer another minute without the sexual loving and ecstatic bliss you were born to receive. Get to www.thetantrateacher.com right now. That's www.thetantrateacher.com.
Is your sex life non-existent? Do sexual dysfunctions leave you soft? Is internet porn getting more than you are? Or are you paying more attention to porn than your partner? Have you tried talk therapy and it got you nowhere? You are not alone. You can be freed from sexual shame, guilt, and dissatisfaction. A visit to the Tantra Teacher is in order. Call now and mention you heard the Tantra Teacher on the radio and get a very special offer. Stop waiting for a miracle and call right now. 206-276-2735. Phone consultations or in person will get you the information you need to be successful in your love life. But you have to call now. 206-276-2735. Stop making excuses. Call the Tantra Teacher. 206-276-2735.
I always think it's funny on the break. We just, we just keep rolling. And in fact, it gets a little funny. I realize I'm sitting here like I'm playing with my skirt. I've actually got my skirt hiked halfway up my. So I'm glad I'm like sitting behind this desk here. What am I doing? Okay, anywhere. And that and snorting and whatever it is.
We have a good time.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe we should just keep the mics open during the intermission.
Oh my gosh, yeah, forget the breaks. We'll just go say we're going on break and then we'll just start cutting loose with whatever it is we're doing over here. Yeah, Billy was being a psychic for us before. He was telling us that, if you need a man or you need money, action probably should happen.
It helps, yeah.
Sitting on the couch at home, not going to bring it.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
So.
Yeah, don't call me now for your free reading. He's
going to tell you exactly where it's at.
Call Billy for your free psychic reading right now.
He's kind of like, we don't need to talk about past life. We're working this one
We're
right now.
working this life right now. Get off your couch.
No disrespect to anyone that reads past lives.
Oh my goodness. All right. So we were talking about breathing and orgasm and that type of thing. And we always like to talk about orgasm on the show.
I want to hear more about orgasm.
Well, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about orgasm. All right. There are a lot of women out there.
Yes.
That are not having orgasm.
What?
Yeah.
I can't step away from the microphone, but I would. This is when I usually close my eyes, just hold my forehead and turn around once or twice. That grieves me.
Well, I mean, is it supposed to grieve you?
It should.
Well, if the goal is an orgasm, why does that grieve you?
It grieves me because I want women to be experiencing the gift that their body, one of the many gifts that their body can give them, which is the experience of bliss.
Right.
So the goal is not the orgasm, but the experience of joy and bliss within their own being.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are a lot of women. I get the emails and the calls from women, and they're 30s, 40s, something saying, I've just never had an orgasm, or I've never had an orgasm with a partner.
Okay.
Some women can have orgasms with themselves, and and let me talk about this a little bit. That orgasm we have with the breath holding and the body clenching and that kind of thing. I think we're really shortchanging ourselves as women, because I think that's more of a sexual tension release. You build up all this tension, and you can do it yourself by just creating tension. Big focus on the clitoris, and, finally the body just has to do something with it. And you have this kind of spasm, this kind of, feels good, but just for a nanosecond, it can't last very long, and you're done. And a lot of times afterwards, you feel like you might have a headache because you've been holding your breath for five flipping minutes.
And even with that, someone that I once knew would, get the first one rolling, if you will.
Yeah.
And then plateau that to the next one and keep going, and it would just get more and more intense.
Well, then that's cool. Intense. Okay.
No, but I still saw it as a tension release orgasm, because it was like this marathon that she would do, and then she would get the power tools out with nothing against power tools.
Wow, you get the power tools. Okay.
But I think it was a lot of tension, and I think it required more and more intensity just to keep that almost like a drug going.
Okay. So there wasn't that relaxation, that surrender that just carried away with this blissful waves.
The first ones were quick, and it's almost like if you breathe, if you relax,
yeah,
and you build the energy,
yeah,
and play in the energy, be in the energy, and breathe it up, it'll get more and more intense. Right. Use that first short orgasm, men or women. Use that first, real sensitive orgasm to get even more intense.
Well, I think that, and we're habitual, especially women. Well, men probably too.
I used to be very habitual.
We're habitual with how we have our orgasm, how we do it. If a woman has one leg down and one leg, bent, that's generally the only way she can have that orgasm.
Right.
And so some women, they'll do the closed leg on the pillow thing, and then when it comes to having an orgasm with a lover, can't translate that into making that work.
Right.
And so it's these patterns that we've created. So breaking that pattern. And guess what the number one key is for breaking this pattern? Breathing? Yeah, breathing. And so there's a rocking motion you can do with your body while you're breathing as a woman to just allow the body to build the pleasure until it takes you over the edge. And using breath, poor Josh was just over there. He's got the. I wish you could see him. He's having a hard time because I'm sitting here.
We need to get a camera in the studio here just as we start talking about this.
As I'm talking about
images and beautiful thoughts, but it's causing me just to have energetic waves going. Yeah,
Josh is having his own orgasm sitting over here right now because I'm fanning myself as I'm talking about this orgasm. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Call me if you want to know more details.
It's a little bliss. I'm going to have him take off his headset for a minute while I continue talking about this.
I'm in the studio. I can still hear you.
But the waves rolling back and forth, allowing the hips to move. Because frequently what happens with women is we clench, we hold, we tighten, we hold our breath, and we can get there. And like I said, then it's short, it's intense. Usually you don't want to be touched right afterwards. It's kind of like, that's it, let me alone. You might be exhausted afterwards, have a headache, feel tired, certainly not empowered or imbued. Now, that is not to say, ladies, please don't get me wrong here and hear that I'm telling you that's a wrong orgasm. I'm not saying that. Hallelujah, go for it. There's a different way to do it, though, that's even better. So there's lots of, and part of the problem is women, we have a lot of pressure on the whole orgasm thing.
Yeah.
It's like men need us to orgasm so they can feel good about themselves. We should orgasm because everybody's doing it, supposedly.
I sincerely regret, and I apologize to all women everywhere, that I once was bound to the thought that my lover needed to orgasm during our lovemaking session in order for me to feel like I was serving her and like we'd had that connection.
Yeah.
And I regret that time in my life, and I am so glad that I'm in a different place now.
Now, and that said, I have gone through all of these phases in my life. I've gone through, the breath holding tension, have the orgasm to get it over with in 5 minutes so that, the guy felt hot and I felt sexy.
Okay.
How to get off in 2 minutes or less. I had that one down. And, okay, so what, right? I've had the ability to have orgasm through intercourse, which 87% of women do not do regularly.
Right.
So clitoral, vaginal, hands, no hands, look, ma, take a breath, have an orgasm, energetic orgasm. If you name it, I've done it. And I've also had periods where I didn't do anything, where for some mysterious reason, my body was saying, no.
No matter how much fun was happening, it's not going to happen.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So I'm here to tell women, the reality is don't feel like there's something wrong with you. What I'd like you to do is just explore the options of what could be if you tried something different. That's all. If you're happy, if you're a non-orgasmic woman that really truly believes you're happy being non-orgasmic, then that's fine. That is fine. You can't have that pressure of saying, oh, then there's something wrong with me, because that makes it even worse. And if you are a woman that's easily orgasmic and you want to try different things, that's great too. But that's not the pressure is the worst part, right?
Yeah.
Because, hey, like I said, I've been in those experiences of being there and just going, you know what? Nothing's happening.
And I find that opposites attract, right? When the orgasm is no longer the key critical goal, all of a sudden, and I've experienced this, all of a sudden, they find themselves sneaking up.
Yeah, well, that's true. The orgasms can happen when all of a sudden the pressure is not there.
Or if they're maybe not as frequent, when they do happen, they're much more intense because why?
No pressure.
No pressure. There's no tension. You've been building up in the act of making love, in the act of the intimate exchange. The pleasure has just built on its own without agenda.
Yep. Now, here's a freaky thing, too.
Yeah?
I have been told... Freaky. I know you like freaky. Oh, gosh, we're going to the freaky stuff. Sorry. Here's a freaky thing, too. Sometimes, as a woman, your body can actually be orgasming, and you can't feel it.
Really?
Yeah. I know, because I just recently experienced that.
Did it feel good?
Well, so I'm, making love with my partner, and I'm thinking, wow, this feels great. I mean, something should be happening because,
So you were experiencing good stuff.
Well, yeah, wow, this is cool. And, wow. Didn't, that was like a 10. And at 10, I would orgasm. This is a 15. I'm at 16, 15, 16. And no. And then later on, he told me, oh, yeah. He said, you were orgasming, contracting, doing all these things that would normally be orgasmic in your body. Really? Huh.
But you didn't, it was fun, but you didn't know you were actually...
Right. I didn't feel all that.
Wow.
I just thought it felt good, but not that way. So how curious is that?
Interesting.
I know. See, I told you. Freaky and interesting. So, I'm being straight up here and vulnerable out on, to you hundreds of thousands, maybe, all over the world, people who now know about my sex life in some room. And so what do you say about that, other than there must be some... Obviously, there's a disconnect there. There's a not completely feeling into my body, whether that means I don't feel safe or that means that I'm too in my head or something like that. Obviously, my body's responding. I'm feeling good, but I'm not feeling it through and through.
Right.
I'm not feeling it all the way up.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Too much tension. Who knows? I think it's too much in my head. Now, this happens to women.
You've been really busy.
I've been really busy.
You wrote a book.
Yeah.
You've stayed up late.
And a V-book and a real book. Right.
And a real book.
Yeah.
You've been beautifully, I have to commend you, beautifully managing a relationship with your daughter, helping her through life transitions, at her stage.
Thank you.
And you've been
managing
a lot.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, you think maybe some women out there might be experiencing a lot?
Yeah. And I guess if you're experiencing a whole bunch and, you are in your head or you're exhausted or you're whatever, it could very well be that disconnect. So I do think that's interesting. So I want to tell women is just don't, I guess the good news here is, what I'm saying is I've been from nothing to everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those women that, never had an orgasm with a partner earlier. It happened with myself, never with a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I was too freaked out about what I would sound like, smell like, look like, whatever.
That's because you didn't know me yet.
Yeah, that must have been it right there. Oh, yeah, thank God. And so that's where I was. And a lot of women are very embarrassed about what they might sound like or what they might do, And I found, I found Tantra, and I started exploring all of that, the sexual arts of Tantra. And the big breakthrough for me was the breathing, the hip rocking, and the noise.
Yeah.
So, the biggest breakthrough I had going from having these kind of clitoral tension release orgasms to this, full-blown woohoo body, like hour and a half ripping, oh my God kind of thing. Yeah, Josh is having a moment there.
I'm breathing.
Because I'm reliving this experience. It had to do with, breathing. So, I had a partner that was helping coaching me on breathing. And, breathing as the pleasure was building, breathing, keeping my hips moving, not locking up or going to tension, moving, breathing, sounding, moving, breathing, sounding. And when it hit, it basically, the sounds that were coming out of my mouth, oh my God. Had I stopped for a second to censor it, it would have short-circuited everything.
Well, yeah.
But it was like something like, I don't know, The Exorcist meets Godzilla.
All right.
I had, the sounds that were coming out of my mouth, everything from, down here in the, Exorcist to the,
right,
kind of
right.
thing. Crying, laughing simultaneously, and it just, ripped through me for a long time, as long as that sound was moving and I was breathing and moving.
Right.
And it was amazing. It was just amazing. And once I started having that ability to understand what that meant or how that felt, it was easier to get to that spot, to just, my body started to learn that, oh yeah, okay. So what I'm trying to say here, making this long story shorter, is that I believe that lots of women are having physical sensation that they're not tied into or they're not experiencing. And if they were to do the breathing and the hip rocking and the sounding, and not
the sounding
censor
doesn't
their
have to,
sound.
and the sound doesn't have to start, crazy. It can just be if you experience something that feels good.
Yeah.
When you breathe out, let out a moan, let out a sigh. Just let that vibration of sound move through your vocal cords.
Yeah.
And when I'm with someone, a new partner, I let them know, hey, I love to know when I'm doing something that feels good. I'm not intent. I'm not driven as a goal towards your orgasm, but I want to know, and I want to know when I do something that feels good, you might get more of that.
Right. Make a sound.
And make a sound, just a little sound.
There's those women that are shy to make sound. And, if you're a man that thinks a woman making sound is, horrifying or scary, you got to get over it, because you should be making sound too. Because the same thing, I was teaching a partner years and years later, a man who, had orgasm just like most men do. But, it's that nanosecond few
silent,
moments of,
tension.
that tension,
Maybe a few minutes of, oh God.
Yeah, that's right. Right, kind of thing. And I said, we could at least quadruple, even more, probably make that orgasm 10 times longer and better with sound. And he's like, well, I don't want to sound like a, doofus or whatever, whatever. He's having his issues. And I'm like, okay, well, so I'll coach you. Just hang with me when we do this. So we got him breathing. He's getting closer, breathing, same thing, not locking the hips, keeping the hips fluid, breathing, building the tension up. And I said, when you get that, that first contraction, you're close, I want you to just open your mouth and rage like a bull or something. Just, and he went for it.
Olé.
Yeah. Of course, I prodded him a little bit, stuck him in the ribs a little bit, but he kind of, he really let it go. And as long as his out breath was sounding, which was actually quite long, he orgasmed. And, it was probably close to 30 seconds, which, doesn't sound like a lot.
Well, 30 seconds for what we as men experience.
Yeah.
And then if we start making the sound sooner.
Right.
I discovered, to my great fascination, in college, I thought, how do I tell my girlfriend when she's doing something that feels really good? So we were having intercourse, and certain things were feeling really good, certain things were more distracting. And I said, what if because I want her to enjoy it. I know how much I enjoy hearing her. I want her to maybe get some of that. So I started kind of making up some sounds. Not faking orgasm, but if it felt a little bit good, I'd make some sounds, some sighs, some moans.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed she responded to my sound, so I did a little bit more. And then the more I got into that, the more I started realizing, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I've tricked myself.
That's right.
And little by little, I started experiencing more and more bliss leading up to the orgasm. And then in the orgasm, just was floored with how beautiful, how intense it was.
Yep. And the breath work is what leads up to that, the ability to use your breath in a conscious way.
If we're making noise,
are we breathing?
does that mean we have to breathe?
Yeah. See, that's part of it.
Oh, my.
I know. Breath,
There you
energy follows breath and sound.
Right.
And orgasm will follow breath and sound.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you can, you can be orgasming for that long and that intensity.
Okay.
So, there's, it's so funny because when I tell people that, you could have an hour and a half or 2 hour orgasm, I get met with the funniest responses like, I don't have time for that.
Whatever.
I know. It's like, oh yeah, because Sports Network might be on.
Right.
I don't have time to have that kind of orgasm. I got to watch, American Idol. Whatever, okay?
Tell you what.
But I'll tell you what, so if you don't want to, so let's say you're going along and you're in 15 minutes of the, most breathtaking, fabulous orgasm you've ever experienced and you got something to do, you can just stop.
Right.
It's not like, some of them carry you away to a point where you don't realize it's been an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I've had them so intense that I had no idea that days passed.
I've had experiences where it wasn't one continuous orgasm, but just the fun and the pleasure and the fluidity of the dance with my lover. Oh. I looked up for a moment and started noticing that daylight was coming.
It's like daylight outside. Wow.
Oh, shoot. We forgot to go to sleep.
Right. But wow, what a bummer, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I was really bummed.
Yeah, it's really sad when that happens. It's like, yeah. You'd stumble into work the next day, tired and all smiley and happy.
What'd you do all night?
Did you have a rough night? Well, I don't know that I'd call it rough.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough. I was serving.
You were serving. I was serving the goddess. So the breath work is key. Our V-book has all the practices you need to learn to improve your life and extend your orgasm.
www.learningtantra.com.
Look under products, right?
Products.
And it really, all I can say is it just doesn't matter. Any spiritual foundation, breathwork is it. That is the bottom line. And in Tantra, you can't go anywhere. You can read all the books you want. You can do all the techniques you want. But if you don't have a solid breathwork practice,
absolutely,
it doesn't really matter.
I admit I've taken actual classes and workshops before, and this amount of information about breathing wasn't shared.
Right.
And positions, holding each other and doing some breathing together,
right.
And I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me. Great, bunch of positions. I was game on those positions before. Really experiencing the breathing, really experiencing the sounds is key.
And doing the practice with your partner, doing the practice solo, of course, is how you start all these things. Doing the practice with your partner, even just breathing together changes how in harmony you are. And that in itself can lead to great lovemaking.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you need the breath, okay? I say that, I keep telling people this, people write me, they call me, oh, I want to be a great lover. I'm like, you need to breathe. You need to breathe. We created the product that is all you need to create a spiritual practice around breath work. It's micro practices during the day. You don't have to sit for an hour and do breath work. You can you can actually just start by breathing 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. Just becoming aware of your breath is going to be astounding. Just becoming aware. I got a little...
So when I'm in a traffic jam and I'm doing my breathing, I'm actually not only meditating and getting over the stress of the traffic jam, I'm actually also doing my sexual practices.
That's right.
Sweet.
Because with us, all things are, all things are leading towards enhanced sexuality when we talk about in our show.
Yeah.
But think about how it enhances your sexuality because, look, if your blood pressure is out of control,
mm-hmm.
if your life is stressful,
mm-hmm.
if you're medically challenged,
mm-hmm.
your sex life is too.
Yeah, so if I'm breathing and it helps my life, that's going to help my sex.
Automatically. I mean, even if you're doing it right, even if the doctor gave you, told you that you needed to have a breathwork practice. A lot of doctors are doing that now, telling people that they need to go look at a yoga or something like that. And yoga has breathwork practice. You can grab this ebook and just have it right there on your computer
mm-hmm.
and just bypass all this stuff.
Well, and again, I know people, doctor says you need to lower your blood pressure, and that's motivating. But what's more motivating? I need you to do this breath work because it's going to lower your blood pressure, or I need you to do this breath work because it's going to make you a master of lovemaking.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Yeah,
we'll combine that.
Yeah, Billy's like, whatever. we can do that. We can certainly do that. Now you have actually done. He's eating chocolate over there. That's all that sounds of cracking chocolate happening here. Speaking of health,
right?
And when you first started with Team Tantra,
mm-hmm.
you had taken Tantra classes and stuff, which is what you were saying,
mm-hmm.
but you hadn't incorporated breathwork practice as much.
No. It either I missed something,
right, which is possible.
Yeah. Or the importance of how integral specific breath techniques are wasn't really shared.
Right, and now these are not freaky, weird breath techniques. Well, one of them is. I think I watched my favorite video clip was the fire breath where I come out and I've got a box of tissues in my hand. You're going to start this one off with a box of tissues. So you got to blow your nose for this one. But we're not talking about, things that are so difficult that the average person can't do.
And it starts micro. It starts in small practices.
Right.
I mean,
so you don't need to be daunted. What's going to happen to you is that you're going to become, it could be scary because you're going to start feeling.
Mm.
So there is that, right?
Yeah, person is going to have their feelings brought up.
Yeah.
Now, it's just something that just came back to me as a key indicator on where that workshop was that I took on Tantra.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a chance to ask questions, and mine was, wow, it feels so good once I'm inside my lover that I hardly can last long at all. Right. And what can I do to last longer? And it's like, well, you can take ashwagandha, you can ginger, increase blood. No, ginger will bring more heat. These were experienced tantric instructors, and they went brainstorming a bunch of different thoughts as to what could help me last longer.
Instead of teaching you about breath.
No one ever said, if you breathe deep, expand your belly when you breathe, and feel the muscles in your pelvic floor relax, so that when you're making love and you start feeling the intensity rise,
the contractions and
if you stop your movements and you breathe deep and relax those muscles, you will last longer. They never said that. And that astounds me now.
Right.
I would take someone's Tantra certification away if they didn't share that basic. And that's not esoteric information. That's physiological knowledge.
Right. And we've got some of those breathwork practices in our premature ejaculation ebook, too, as well, about how to figure that out. So we've got the products covering stuff that, people are really asking for.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty important. I would like to breathe more right now, frankly, with my lungs, feeling the way they are.
Right.
Breath is a little bit challenging. And, I get the questions from people saying, oh, so I've done this breath and it hurts my nose.
Right.
Or I'm trying to breathe and it hurts my lungs. And you got to understand, if you've spent 40 years not breathing very much, then, things are going to be a little bit
new.
New. And
that's when you
craggy, and you're
slow down.
You're going to be you're going to be opening things up, and whether that's your feelings or some muscles, the intercostal, the muscles between the ribs. For most people, those have never moved.
Right.
And we get people breathing and they start to move those. They're like, oh my God, that, and it's like, well, just breathe a little slower, let those open up. We're all going to take a yawn here.
Yeah, taking deep breaths because we're talking about yawn. We're talking about breathing.
Right, and then I start yawning. That's another thing. If you need to yawn or stretch, and we're taught that that's rude in society, that's really bad because that's spontaneous relaxation that our body needs.
The body's needing to dissipate stress. Stretch.
And if you don't do that, you don't have a good sex life. Do you know how all this relates back to sex?
Are we selling
I think we're just obsessed.
Life improvement with sex?
I think maybe so. I don't know. I'm selling life improvement. And how you do this is how you do everything. Right. That's what we started with. So if you don't have the ability to live your life fully, your sex life is not going to be full either. Right. So it's not all about the orgasm. Right. I keep saying that.
I hear you. Loud and clear.
But that said, I do want people to know that what you have, the potential out there for pleasure in your body, and it may not be, or it may just be excruciating pleasure, fabulous, exquisite, not excruciating.
Excruciating pleasure.
Excruciating pleasure.
Sounds like an orgasm sometimes.
Wow. Exquisite pleasure, many facets, even more than what you're experiencing now, is just about learning how to breathe correctly. That's all it takes. It's really simple. It's really profound. I've got a couple of my buddies here just told me that they're listening to my show. I love them because the guy that's listening with his fabulous, beautiful girlfriend is my kissing demo up in Vancouver.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Yeah, so everybody say hi, Jason and Heather. Hi, guys.
Hey, Jason and Heather. Glad to have you in the house.
Love those two. And Jason, if he were on here, he'd be yelling all about breathing because he definitely said that that really, really changed everything for him. When I first met him, I was like, you're not breathing. We're standing up. He was doing a demo. He volunteered a demo for me. And he's standing there, and he's this, tall guy. And I'm like, you're not breathing. He goes, I'm breathing. And I'm like, you're not breathing. Now he would laugh.
Right.
And tell you he was so not breathing and how different it is in his life to do that. So I'd like to take another moment, just a second here, for those of you that are maybe not, and just a little more breath awareness. So what's breath awareness?
Breath awareness is continuing to breathe as you are, and just become aware. Feel the air passing your nostrils and up the bridge of your nose. Feel it going down your throat and filling your lungs, but don't change how you're breathing. Just follow the breath. Feel what muscles are maybe tight. Feel how your body expands and contracts as you breathe in and then back out. So awareness breathing is just becoming aware of your breathing.
Yep. Just be aware. You start doing that now. Hop online, grab the V-Book, the video, the Conscious Breath V-Book. Do some of those practices just a few times a day. Get your whole family involved. There's nothing better than teaching your kids how to be conscious breath work practice. How to, blowing out birthday candles.
Yes.
That's what I do with my daughter. So they'll stress, like, blow out birthday candles. It's like, and work on that. Give them the tools so they don't have to use the word I'm stressed. There's no such thing as stress in life unless we're consciously...
I have to commend you and your daughter, because when she's having a stressful moment, you'll say, what do you need to do, honey? And she goes, I know, I need to breathe.
Right.
And she'll take a deep breath in.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. And let it out, and take a deep breath in and let it out.
And then sometimes she looks at me and says, Mama, you need to breathe. When I get a little stressed, Jason says he's online here saying they're having a great time, and he says, you're right, I am laughing. Because he does remember when he was telling me so adamantly, yes, I'm breathing.
And one last tip for guys. Why should I start breathing?
1 minute here.
Because it might be interesting for guys wondering, how often can I get sex? Can I get her to want sex more often? Can I get her to ask me for sex more often? And I find that the more breathing I'm doing, the less I'm focused on the goal of the orgasm, the more fun she's having. And, oh, look, honey, if you wake up in the middle of the night, just go for it. I'm interested.
There you go.
Comments like that.
Yeah, breathing's got to be good.
Oh, yeah.
We sanction breathing, and we're getting ready to go here because we're out of time. Thanks so much for being here. We've got classes, we've got products, we've got what you need. Get to learningtantra.com, and we will talk to you next week about, I don't know, probably Tantra, love, sex, and intimacy. Something like that.
It.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.